man. All right, so new episode of Once Upon a Boot. I got my good friend Cody on. We served together on our first ship. What's going on, Cody? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Man, not a whole lot. Just living in Kentucky and working and going to school.
Yeah, I feel you, man. So let's talk a little bit about you. Give the listeners a little background about yourself before we get going.
I'm Cody Crowder. I was in the Navy from 2013 to 2017. I was a logistics specialist. I like country music, and I think I might be the first like true Southerner on here. I don't know.
I think so. I think so for sure. And like now I'm starting to get all the supply people in on this.
Yeah.
So it's pretty nice. I mean, it's good to reconnect too. You know, I just had Chi on. Was it 2 episodes ago?
Yeah.
It was good catching up with her. And now I'm catching up with you. So let's talk a little bit before you ever got to the Mahan, our first ship. Why did you want to join the Navy in the first place?
Well, most of my family had been in the Navy at one time. I had a couple of corpsman cousins. My great uncle was a machinist mate. My dad was a storekeeper, which is now a logistics specialist, which is what I've done.
Yeah.
So it might have been destiny, maybe, but most of the successful men in my family have done the Navy or the military. So I felt like it was at least a step up.
Yeah. And how old were you when you joined? Were you 18 when you joined up?
I was 19.
19? Did you take like a year off after high school to try to figure things out, or what happened?
Yeah, I was gonna go to college, and I seen how much it was gonna be, and I was not gonna make my dad pay for all that college, and I figured I could go get an education and see the world a little bit, in the Navy.
Yeah. So what made you want to go down the LS route? Like when you first talked to your recruiter, was it, you had sold something, or was that in your mind you wanted to
I got a list to my dad of what all I qualified for with the ASVAB, and
Yeah.
he's like, man, you want to do supply, you want to be an LS. He goes, that's what I done. He's like, if you like sleep, he's like, that's for you, man, because he knew.
So when you head off to boot camp for the first time, you said your family was kind of in the military. Was it what you expected it to be like, or was it like crazy different than you imagined, or?
It was exactly what I imagined. My dad kind of painted a picture, and my recruiter was really honest with me. He told me to not go downstairs and with those fake petty officers.
Yeah.
with them down there, he's like, man, just linger around the airport, go get you a snack. Don't go down there sooner than you have to.
Yeah, that's true. It was funny walking down there, and now that you look back, I think they were all like, what? They were like E2 and E3s, like on the bus, and they're like, everybody that wears our uniform, you're gonna call petty officer.
Yeah.
And now that you look back, they were bootleg as fuck.
Yeah, they're fake, and I knew all the ranks and insignias, and I was like, man, they're not petty officers. They're lying to our face. I didn't know what to make of that because I expected there to be E6s, some first classes there, but that was not the case. They let say.
Dude, you had a leg up on me then, because when I got there, I remember. Did you get like that little training book for before you joined? That's like the Sailor's Creed and all this shit. I never got that. So when I got to the airport and I saw everybody reading them, I was the only kid that didn't get one because my recruiter never gave it to me.
Yeah, my recruiter. They made us go to debt meetings and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So he was real good. He let us march and he quizzed us and make sure we were ready. So I had really, really good recruiters.
So when you get out, now I know from Chi said that you guys go to Mississippi, right, for your schooling?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Mississippi, so like 2 hours south of
so there you go.
Yeah, a little Navy town called Pascagoula. So
okay, so which is where the shipyard is,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Pascagoula?
They used to have a Navy base there, but it shut down in '05.
So did you hang around Great Lakes at all after boot camp, or did you just go right to Mississippi?
Right to Meridian, Mississippi.
So you obviously get to go back, your home state. So what was your schooling like there? Like, so you're getting out of boot camp, right? And I always say you kind of have that like they kind of fill up your head so much you're like, yeah, I'm a badass, I'm in the Navy now. Like, did you have that getting back to Mississippi, like your home kind of state, or?
No, I was used to like Navy dudes kind of rolling around in the town, and I knew
Yeah.
not to take anything too serious.
Did you like before you joined the Navy, were you working jobs or anything, or was this like your first real big job that you had?
It was my first big job. I come from a little town in Kentucky. I moved up there in '05 after Hurricane Katrina with my
Yep.
grandparents, and there really isn't much opportunity up there. They have coal mines, and it's like a stereotypical Appalachian town. Just
Yeah.
not much going on, and so that's the only job I could probably get. So
So were you blowing all your money when you got out of boot camp then and you're in A school
Uh,
going through?
man, I ate out a lot. What little we had in Meridian, Mississippi, which the South, having good food.
True.
I ate pretty good down there, but I didn't blow it too bad. I knew to keep some of them digits in my bank account and not get not get too wild with it.
Yeah. No, I hear you because I know there's so many people you get to A school and they're blowing it on video games or, which is not that bad, but then you get the people buying new cars and
Yeah,
all this shit.
Camaros and
Yeah.
Mustangs and stuff.
So how long were you in Mississippi for?
Uh, I want to say it was about 8 weeks. It's self-paced, so it's all online, and they kind of have like
Oh, no
a
shit.
instructor there, kind of keeping you in line and making sure you're on pace to graduate on time. But I think they switched away from that because a lot of us were graduating in like 4 weeks.
Huh.
Yeah. So if you
So what type of stuff do they cover there for LS school?
well,
Is it like procedure and shit like that or?
a lot of the stuff they teach really isn't applicable. They yeah they teach you like old ways to do the 1348 to do it by hand, which they don't do that
Yeah.
anymore. Everything's all automated. So
Yeah.
they taught us how to do that. So when you get to the ship, you know nothing about our supply and any of the programs we actually ran. So it was just really outdated, and hopefully they fixed it so LSs can come in a little bit more prepared.
So when it comes time for you to get orders to a ship, do you get to pick where you go, or did they just tell you, "Hey, you're going to Norfolk, you're going to the ship"?
I wanted to go to Jacksonville, but
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. I like that place, but they let us pick like East Coast, West Coast, or overseas, which I don't think it
Okay.
matters. I think they just say you're going to Norfolk, Hoss. That's just the way it goes.
So you get told you're going to Virginia. Now, do you hear anything ahead of time about, I guess, Norfolk Naval Base or especially like the ship you're about to go to, or no?
So they had our ships posted, and I had just watched the news about the ship rolling over into around Syria.
Yep.
And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go to this ship, and it already had a stigma around it. That
Yeah.
it was heavily involved in everything it could get its hands on.
Yeah. Now, did you get to the ship around the same time as Chi? Were you guys like
I got there as soon as they came into home port. I wasn't there waiting
okay?
on the pier, but like a couple days after they got back, I came in, and they
Okay.
were trying to get me to take leave because there was nobody on the boat. I was just kind of walking around, not knowing. My sponsor never got a hold of me, and I just went up to the quarterdeck, and I didn't know really what to do.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of our first time reporting there. I mean, I didn't even have a sponsor. I knew Castro like ahead of time, and he just kind of told me what was going on. But if I didn't know him, I would have had no fucking idea what was going on.
Yeah, I kept emailing my my sponsor, and they never emailed me back. And eventually, the chief at the time called me and made sure that I knew to come there at a certain date.
So if you got there in 2013 when they're rolling back, what time was that? Was that like September,
Yeah,
August,
I think
something
it
like
was
that?
late August.
Late August. Okay. So you get to the ship and it's a stand down after a deployment. So really it's like pretty easy going, not a lot's going on. When did things for you, I guess, start to pick up on the ship? Like when were you starting to realize like, oh, okay, this is what ship life is like. This is what this command is like. How long did it take to kick in?
I don't know if you were around at this point, but the captain he outlawed music. I don't know if you're around.
Yeah.
He outlawed music like it was like it's Footloose. So yeah, so we were.
He outlawed everything.
Yeah.
It was like music. You weren't allowed to whistle in the P-ways.
Yeah,
I
he
remember.
thought that was like a like people were trying to mate or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what he thought,
Oh fuck.
but he was a douche. So
Yeah. I mean, but you always used to see people. I remember you'd be like on your phone listening to music, and then as soon as somebody rounded the corner, you hide your phone real quick and shut the music off because you didn't want people to see.
yeah, I would listen to music quietly in like the storerooms on
Yeah.
the port and starboard side of the ship.
Yeah.
I would just hide my phone to keep it real low, and if I heard somebody like starting to come down the steps in the storerooms, I'd cut it off and hide. And
Yeah. Yeah, see, I didn't get there. So I got there in November of 2013.
Okay.
So I got only a couple months after you. So I guess we were still both pretty new at that point. And like I said previously, like so supply in general is such a weird department because you have so many different types of people in supply. So you got LSs, which logistics specialists. So you got his work, like the inventory of the ship, supply coming and going. Then you have SHs, which kind of work with you guys, but not really. There's some in the barbershop. There's some like doing other shit. And then you guys have CSs. You guys have FSAs. You guys have people that are working mail. Like you guys have everything.
yeah, we deal with anything incoming and outgoing, and
Yeah.
it sucked because the LS rate is like 3 different rates merged into one. So
Yeah.
a lot of the jobs you can't, I don't know, you can't do them all, and there's no way to master like being a postal clerk without being a postal clerk full time.
Yeah. Now, when you got to the ship, do they kind of designate you as an LS? Like, hey, you're going to be doing this aspect of it, or are you just supposed to be a jack of all trades kind of guy?
They kind of hand you over certain programs. I did the depot level repairables. I don't know if you remember those, but
Yeah.
I was constantly hounding you guys about turning in parts,
Yep.
and you guys were pretty good about turning in them circuit card assemblies and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I got handed that. Then I went to hazmat for a little while, for probably about a year, and then
Dude, could we talk for a second about how fucking shitty hazmat is?
hey man,
It's I felt bad for you guys. It's not your
Yeah.
fault. It's just like such a shitty. Like for anybody that don't know, so hazmat, hazardous materials on a ship, it's pretty much any sort of chemical at all.
yeah,
Like even like Lysol
Yeah.
wipes technically is
cleaning
considered
supplies
hazmat.
were hazmat.
Yeah.
It had to be checked out as such.
Yeah, and they keep it, and they keep everything pretty much on like the lowest level of the ship.
Yeah.
And it was just like the worst to get to. You have all of these procedures you have to go to get it out, and then you poor guys are stuck in that room all day, like sweating your ass off, dealing with people
Yeah.
for maintenance.
Yeah, and you would look up and you would see the line wrapped around wrapped around the P-way, and you're like, oh man.
Dude, I remember I think it was the Cole, when I got to the Cole, there was some sketchy ass shit going down in hazmat.
Oh, yeah.
Where you would just like go down there with the what the fuck was the form called to check out hazmat?
God. I've been out of the game so long.
Yeah, I know, me too. Well, you go down there with the form for your maintenance, and you're just like, hey, can you sign this and pretend like I checked out hazmat earlier for these
I'm
maintenance
not
checks?
gonna lie, I saved a couple people because you
Yeah.
can backdate receipts and stuff, and
Yep.
it's sketchy. People would come down bringing Snickers and Sunkist and try to bribe you, and it worked. I mean,
Yep.
I'm not above it.
I mean, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody going to captain's mast over a fan coil unit.
Yeah,
It's
and
silly.
especially on that ship, it was gonna fucking happen
Yeah,
for sure.
So I saved a couple people from going to mass, and I think I'm a better man for it.
I remember one time we cleaned Caesar 2, and I forget who it was. Maybe this was on the Cole, and LS walked into the space because they were training for ESWAS. And they walked in, and he just goes, smells like hazmat. And then we had to, like, sign off all of his shit because he threatened to, like, report us.
There's a literal train going by.
It's all good. That's what editing's for. It's tremendous.
All the dogs are free now.
So so you're on the ship, right? You're in LS. So what was your, I guess, first impressions like of being on a ship? Was it what you thought it was going to be like, ship life in general?
Yeah, my dad had broke it down pretty good for me, and he was on a destroyer as well. So
Okay.
and I had been on boats down in Mississippi, and so I never got seasick or anything like that. So
Lucky.
yeah, I don't know.
I
You
got
all
fucked
also
up.
was in the front of the ship, and it was bad up there. You could feel it come out the water, and
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, dude, and it's one of those things. It's funny you say that. When I say that to people, they're like, "Well, why'd you join the Navy if you get seasick?" Like, I didn't fucking know.
how you supposed to know that you're in the North
Yeah.
Atlantic getting beat up?
And dude, my in our berthing, so you were obviously aft
Yeah,
berthing. I was forward. Like it fucking was brutal forward. And I would be in my rack just like throwing up the whole time and yeah, it sucked.
yeah.
I was miserable.
Yeah, but your berthing was a lot nicer. You didn't have certain people in there
Yes.
stinking up the place.
Well, see, yeah, like we used to call going. What were you guys berthing
Yeah,
3?
berthing 3, Animal House.
Yeah, yeah, we used to call it going to the project. Like you go back to
It
berthing
was the
3.
little ghetto
Yeah, it was because you guys have supply, you have deck
deck
department,
department.
which no offense to deck department, but that's like the most like boot type people
Yeah,
and
a couple of those guys would sleep on the couch and only sleep on the couch. They would never go to their
that's
racks.
it's
And
fucking dirty.
yeah, there was one gentleman that would go to sleep with a dip in his mouth and and wake up with that same dip and go about his business.
Yeah, I remember they always used to do urinalysis in your berthing. So, which was like the only time I was ever really back there, and I would always be like, "Man, it's so fucking different than berthing 1 up front."
Yeah, it smells like feet and raw ass.
So, when you were on the ship, was there ever a time like when you got to experience kind of like what other rates were doing that you were like, "Man, I wish I had done this rate instead," or were you happy with being in LS while you were there?
Uh, I mean, maybe a gunner's mate.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, you got to be on a mount like for general quarters and see an anchor
Yeah,
and shit, right?
yeah, that was a blessing.
Did you want to do that, or was that
Yes.
something that they forced upon you?
LS2 Renard hooked me up with that because having to do the firefighting stuff was
Oh, that's the
garbage.
worst.
Having to get up in the ensemble in the Middle East every week, that
Dude.
was horrible.
Brutal. Because so were you on what were you qualified up to for firefighting? Do you remember?
I think like a team lead.
Team
So
lead?
there's
Yeah, that's
like
what I
a
was
9
too.
or something. I can't remember how.
It fucking sucked,
Yeah,
dude.
and I don't.
Like, especially duty days when you're like standing watch, you get off watch. Now you have to go to the mess decks. You're just eating because maybe you had like the 12 to 17.
Yeah.
And they're like, nope, we got fucking fire or flooding drills, and you got to deck out in firefighting.
And they're trying to
gear.
hurry you up, and you can't even
Ugh.
enjoy your food. So
Dude, it was the worst. Yeah, so I guess getting on a gun mount's not that bad, except when you're topside on a sea and anchor, like through
oh gosh, in the winter.
in the winter, or especially if you're going through like the Suez and we're in GQ the whole time, like that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it sucked, but like our department was very understanding, and they kind of let us when we were going through the Suez back and forth.
Yeah.
You wasn't on that deployment, but we was going back and forth like every day. I think.
I was on the coal,
Yeah,
but we were doing the same shit. It was like you guys would go one way, and then we would go the
Okay,
other way,
yeah.
and we were like swapping with each other. But yeah, we did a bunch of transits, and we were at GQ. Did you guys stay at GQ the whole time?
Yeah, until we got out to the Red Sea or the Mediterranean.
It's
and it's like,
fucking shitty.
yeah,
And people like that are listening to this, so GQ general quarters, it's like the highest state of readiness that a ship can be at. It's like hatches are closed down, you're wearing flash gear, which fucking stinks and it sucks. You're standing at a gun mount, or you're at like watch at the radar, wherever it is your spot is, and it's just fucking miserable.
yeah, definitely not a highlight of my Navy career.
So when it comes time to go on like the first deployment that we went on together, were you excited? Were you nervous to go overseas? Like, how did you feel about that?
Well, our job got significantly easier when we were underway because we weren't getting parts, every 2 days.
True.
So we would mostly chill, order parts, and I'd gather DLRs or run hazmat for a day, whatever they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
So it was nice going underway. It was kind of a break.
Now, what about for like from an LS perspective? When you're told that we have like a RAS or any type of supply thing coming up, are those like a giant pain in the ass from your aspect, or?
Oh yeah, because we would have to put DLRs on one of those baskets and take it over. And
Yeah.
sometimes the supply officer of them USNS ships
Yep.
just weren't very reactive to our emails and would so it was a
Yeah.
pain in the ass and having to process all those parts because you don't just process all the parts at once. You got to do each receipt and verify
Yep.
that it's there and then store it. And some of it's heavy, 400 pounds, carrying it down a P-way. It's just
Yeah,
not
dude.
practical.
I remember we'd have like a CRT. I don't know if you remember the CRTs, like the big fucking old school
Yeah.
monitors. And they'd come in those big ass crates. And I remember specifically one time, I don't remember if it was we were dealing with you. It might have been a different LS, but we had to bring it out of Caesar 2 down to supply. Then we had to carry it back up to I want to say like near the quarterdeck, and then we had to bring it back down to supply again because like we forgot something. Dude, I fucking hated that. But like, I mean, it must have been a pain in the ass for you guys
Yeah,
too.
we would have to carry it somewhere on base.
Yeah.
And it was a hassle then because they were real picky how it was packaged. And sometimes I would package it just well enough so I could turn it in and get out of there. And probably as soon as they tried to move it, the box would fall apart. And I just, it was kind of ghetto, but that's supply. None of it works right.
Yeah. So our first deployment, what was your favorite port that we went to? Do you remember?
I don't know. I want to say Suda Bay. We really didn't get to go that many places on that first
I
deployment.
mean, Suda Bay, we went for
Oh,
probably like a week we were there.
Alicante. Never mind. Yeah,
Spain, yeah, Spain was
Alicante.
cool. But it was cold as fuck.
Yeah, the wind coming off that water was horrid.
Brutal. Same thing with Sicily. Like Sicily was beautiful, but it was fucking cold.
Man, you think Sicily was beautiful?
It was nice. I mean, like when they put all the lights up for Christmas
Yeah,
and
that
stuff,
was
it wasn't
nice. And
bad.
going by like the Catholic
Like,
churches and stuff.
yeah, like it looked cool, but I mean, there wasn't much to do. I mean,
Yeah,
that's true.
other than eat.
Yeah, I
That's.
mean the most, and then you go to Bahrain. The only thing to do is what you go to like the Navy Exchange on base or down American Alley, and it fucking sucks.
We done karaoke. There was
Did you?
yeah, Rick's Cafe.
Oh, I never went to
Yeah,
that.
I've got a video somewhere of LS2 King doing "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey, and it's magical.
Where was that? Was that off base?
Yeah, it was. I stumbled upon it, and we were like the only Americans there.
Tremendous.
Yeah, so it was awesome.
So when we're on that deployment, and you're on deployment in general, I always said it sucks leaving, but then once you're gone, it's like the easiest time that you have, almost being deployed, because you become like so, I guess used to these like crazy routines where you're just like you're working, you're eating, you're working out, and you kind of just like repeat that over and over. What do you think is your favorite thing about being underway?
Being underweight, man. I liked when we go into River City.
You like River City?
We didn't do anything. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't order parts. We couldn't check status.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
It was double-edged sword. Like it was nice, but we also couldn't contact our loved ones and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
I mean,
But
I guess that's true. For me, it sucked because we stood watch
nonstop.
in the space like with the computer, so I was like, "Fuck, I can't do anything," and just fucking sitting here.
Yeah, it was kind of a blessing for us, but sometimes we would go into River City for it seemed like no reason at all. Like they were just trying to
Just for
they were
punishment.
just trying to fuck
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah, and River City, they just cut off all communications on the ship. My two least favorite things were River City and then Quiet Ship. I fucking hated Quiet Ship when they would do sonar because you couldn't go to the gym because it was right back aft by sonar, and you had to be like quiet in berthing. Like they wouldn't run movies on the TV.
Yeah, it was
That shit drove me
a real
crazy.
dull experience when they did quiet shit.
Yeah.
And then the sonar, you could hear it.
It was loud as fucking berthing
Yeah.
one.
It was
Like
loud
I
aft,
would sleep
so I
in
couldn't-
Caesar too. I would sleep in Caesar too. Like that was the quietest place. But when I forgot to ask you about this. Like when we went to Mardi Gras,
Yeah.
like you were on the ship for that,
Oh
obviously,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So what did you like? That's got to be closer to home, I guess, a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I
Louisiana.
knew my way around downtown too, so
Yeah.
I was able to kind of take people and show them where, what's what and where to go and where not to go. So
Yo, do you remember? Wasn't it your birthing where the ARI came from? The dude that broke the
yeah,
TV.
he punched that thing, man. And then he waylaid the guy on watch. He dusted him.
Yeah.
He tried
He
to.
fucking wrecked the guy on watch. The other one punched the TV, and then another one fell down like the rocks into the water.
Yeah. Oh man, that was. I knew that was gonna. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew.
I was surprised that's all that happened.
Yeah. Man, as soon as we stepped off the boat, I walked on Bourbon Street and I seen some of the sailors on the ship on the balconies with like pitchers of beer yelling.
Yo, we got on the balcony. That's actually a funny story. It was me, Castro. I don't remember everybody that was with us, but you remember they were charging people to get on the balcony.
Yeah.
And we were just like, okay, well, what if we just walk like we were already on the balcony and maybe they won't stop us? And we just fucking walked up up the stairs, and we got up there, and I remember the guy at the top, he's like, what are you guys doing here? We're like, oh, we're just going to hang out with you on the balcony. And he gave us a bunch of beads, and he was like, hey, the key is show the beads, never throw the beads.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then eventually people started to catch on, and then, we had to stop.
Yeah, I never got on any of the balconies. I don't know. I was pretty chill. I was also 20 at the time, so I couldn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, but there was like some debauchery. Like that's why I'm like the fact that only those three guys got in trouble. It was like a blessing for the ship, because if we got in trouble, I mean, we never would have been able to do anything like ever again.
Yeah, yeah. And that the captain at the time, he was
he's a fucking asshole.
Authoritarian.
Yeah, for sure. So we come back from that deployment, right? We hit the yards not long after that, which is around the time that I left the ship in the yards. What was the yards like for supply? Because you guys had to move everything off the ship onto the barge.
Yeah, for the most part. We took a lot of our consumables and moved them, and that took a whole day within itself. All the hazmat had to go into a Connex that was at least an 1/8 mile down the road.
Yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that. It was in like the back of like an 18-wheeler type of thing, right?
Yeah, shipping containers, and it was
Yep.
hot. It was so hot out there. And I was like, oh, it's got a fan. It was this janky little fan that didn't work, and it was just blowing around hot air.
I remember we couldn't find anything in there either.
No, there was no...
Because it was just stacked. I think, I'm trying to remember his name. What was the LS? I think it was an LS1.
McCaslin?
Did you guys have an LS? Yeah, McCaslin. I remember he was in there one day, and he was just like, just fucking, if you find it, take it. If you don't, I'll just sign your paper.
Yeah, it was at that point where you just couldn't find anything, and
yeah,
there was no practical way to organize it because them shelves were janky and there was tons of paint, and none of it made sense.
It was miserable, dude.
Yeah, that was.
It was miserable.
And I thought the yards were going to be easy. I really did.
That's what everybody told me, and it was worse in the yards than it was
it was
on the pier.
It was hot. I stood more watch than I ever stood.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
the watch.
and it was the ship was hot because there was no air running through it because it wasn't sitting in water. So
yeah,
I've never been so distraught and so let down. The yards, top 5 worst moments of my life. Easy.
Yeah, I mean,
Easy.
and especially when you're talking about watch. Let's talk about watch for a second. I think me and you were in the same duty section because I remember standing watch with you.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the world fucking worse than standing watch?
Well, I made sure I was really good at Petty Officer of the Watch, so I wouldn't have to do the death march like you did in Bahrain.
Dude,
I remember looking at you from the quarterdeck and like, man, he looks dunzo.
Dude,
You were just doing the death march.
You're talking topside rover,
Yeah.
right?
Well, no, you was on the pier, I believe.
I did the pier. Pier sucked, but topside rover, specifically in Bahrain, Chief Skulldagger was OD,
Yeah.
and it was, dude, it must have been at least like a $110 outside. Like it was fucking
Yeah,
hot.
and we had janky flak jackets, and we were carrying
Yo,
everything. It just
dude, and I remember being so fucking mad because on that deployment they gave us like those Under Armour style hats. You remember those? They were like the dry fit
yeah, and
hats.
they were cheap.
But they wouldn't let you wear them on watch.
Yeah.
So you had an 8-point. I had an 8-point, and I think they made me wear a helmet too.
Oh.
So, and the 8-points are the worst because they just held all the heat inside of them. So I remember fucking, dude, they had to change the watch, so it was like 2 on, 2 off, 2 on, 2 off.
Yeah.
And and like you said, especially on the pier, doing that death march, like you called it.
Man.
I'd hang out at the ECP too long. Somebody would yell at me. I had to walk to the other side, and I'm like, I might just walk off into the fucking water at this point. It's so fucking hot.
It looked like it got you worse than anybody else.
Dude, I fucking hated
I seen
it.
pure misery on your face, and
That's because Senior Miller was the fucking section leader, and he hated me, so he put me on that shit every time. Yeah.
Yeah. That
Oh
guy.
fuck yeah, dude. Watch sucked, and we talked about like on the previous episode, but like getting relieved late, is that not the worst feeling in the Navy?
Yeah, and sometimes you just don't have any say so. You're helpless out there. They, and if it's from another ship, you know, it's gonna.
Dude,
take
that's the worst.
Yeah, it's gonna take even.
You're
longer.
like, can you guys please go to the other ship and find out like what my relief is, or?
Yeah, I would stand at the end of the pier just waiting for him, just looking at the end of the pier, wait until I seen a body come off the quarterdeck.
Especially with like those initial, like after the incident on the ship, and we put on the first set of vests that we got, like the heavy ass fucking shitty vests.
Yeah, the janky ones.
Dude, those were the worst. It was so fucking hot. They were so fucking heavy. They stunk from the last person that was wearing them.
They were horrible, and they would try to spray them, and it just smelled like Lysol and sweat.
Yeah.
It didn't mask the smell at all.
And you're putting it on, like, so you're getting, so the armory on the ship is right next to, like, the library, which they call the library. There's no fucking books in there. And then, so you're getting dressed in that P-way, and you're putting it on, you're just like, you just know from the smell, from how sweaty it already was, like, how bad your watch is going to be before you even get outside to stay on the watch.
Yeah, you're covered in somebody else's sweat and body stank.
Ugh, the fucking worst. So, in the yards, you guys had a big change of command, which is where you like. I've been told, I wasn't there to experience it. Everything kind of got a lot better on the ship.
Oh yeah.
Did you think it got a lot better in supply as well?
Supply didn't really change all that much. It kind of did with the Chiefs and all of that stuff. But
Well, you guys had a lot of like your specific chain of command changed a lot. I feel.
yeah, we would have Chiefs kind of come at the end of their career, and they would do 1 year and just be out. So that happened, I think, 2 or 3 times. And it seems like our Chiefs were leaving for various things. It was odd. On the last deployment, our chief left in the middle of deployment and came back as I was leaving. So I was flying off the ship, and I high-fived him, see you later, Chief. And
So you got off. So when you came time to separate from the Navy, did you know from the bat that you only wanted to do 4 and get out, or did you kind of decide that on the ship?
I decided that probably the first couple weeks on the ship. I knew that this was not for me. And my dad was like, he's like, it wasn't for me either. You just do your time and get out and go to school, do whatever. It's all nothing lasts forever.
Now, did you play the game at all, like pretending like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get out or not, or did you? They knew like the whole time, like, no, he's done in 4.
So I tried to. So I never made E5. So my last like 6 months on the ship, 4 of those months were spent like FSAing. So
you got sent FSAing at the end?
Yeah.
Dude.
And they also made me do postal at the same time.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no one was qualified to do postal at the time, except me. But they had me FSAing, and like they kept wanting me to, they didn't know where they wanted me.
Yeah, see, that happened when I went FSAing. So I FSA'd when we were in the yards, which I maintain was the worst because you were in charge of both, like the ship and the barge. But at the time, like, we're doing all this display maintenance, and I don't know if you remember, but I was like the senior display guy, and then I had Rollins and Villaret who got there like that I was training up. But I was like, you guys can't keep fucking coming to me for like all this shit that needs to get done. Like if you want me to FSA,
Yeah.
it's the same thing as you. It's like they have you do postal. It's like,
Yeah.
motherfucker, you guys just sent me to crank.
Yeah, and they would also they would want me to hurry up and do it, and you can't do that with mail. Like it'd be a federal crime, to take registered mail and just kind of, hurry it up and mess it up and lose it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I also went to postal school the same week I went to TAPS. The TAPS, like I did them like back to back. So I was off the ship for like 3 weeks because I was.
How did you feel about TAPS? Because I hear so many. I thought it was useless, but some people think that it was good. Like, what do you think about it?
It was mediocre. It wasn't completely useless. I had no intentions on going to school when I got out, but I got out and I was like, I may as well use it, and now I'm in grad school, so.
There you go, man.
I had no intention on going to school, and now, trying to get my master's.
Yeah, see, I just got my master's, which it's a son of a bitch too. When you were getting out, was your mindset like you knew exactly what you wanted to do, or did you just say, I just need to get out and I'll figure it out after?
Kind of a blend. I wanted to do public service. That was my big thing. I wanted to stay with the federal government and maybe be a policy analyst of sorts. I wanted to work with the public again and be a public servant, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do exactly. So I just went to college and kept going and and the post 9/11 GI Bill it's awesome.
It is awesome.
And if you have no plan at all, just use
just fucking use it.
There's so many people that don't utilize that.
It's so I already had my bachelor's when I was in, but I didn't know if I wanted to do a grad program just because I was so fucking jaded with school. But my wife was like, "This is just free money, like and free school, like just fucking use it." I'm so happy I did because like that money is just fucking. Yeah, it's like why not?
Yeah, that's your house payment. It's free money, and you're climbing that social ladder at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of people don't know about the Chapter 31. It's the VRNE, the vocational rehabilitation.
What's that?
Vocational rehabilitation program.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
Like, if you run out of post 9/11 and you're over 10% disabled, you can apply for the VRNE. And they'll extend your benefits or help you get a job or whatever it may be. But that's useful because I've got probably about 6 months left on my post 9/11, so I'm going to use that to finish my grad school.
I think also there's a lot of like people might not know because I don't think it's really like advertised that much for jobs, but a lot of companies will pay for you to get your degree if you're a veteran as well.
Yeah, I think we do that where I work. I work for the Army now, so.
Okay. Yeah, and we do that. I do defense contracting stuff, and they did this. I was double dipping. Like they paid me to get it, and I got the GI Bill.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I allowed to do that? And they're like, yeah. Okay, fuck it.
Yeah, I do a lot of that. I'll apply for scholarships, even though my school's completely paid for, and it'll at least help me out a little bit. So
what are you going to school for?
Public administration. So it's pretty much like a MBA, but it's specialized in government.
Yep.
So I want to work in government.
So what is your ultimate goal? Like what is it that you ultimately want to do?
Well, I just want to make sure government's ran efficiently and cost effective. Cause, I want to. So a policy analyst or a management analyst of sorts will make sure that there's some kind of oversight on how much money is being spent and if production is where it needs to be to have efficiently ran government.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So we all know, especially being supply, that money is wasted.
I mean, on everything. Yeah. On everything. It's like especially when you see what the military spends on like a box of pens. You're like, man, I could order like 100 pens off Amazon for the price that we're paying for like 10.
Yeah, that's contracts, man.
It's fucking wild, dude. You see the price of some parts. It's like I'm paying $60,000 for a tube screen for a console when I could buy a 50-inch flat screen TV for like $1,000.
Yeah, and it was like 100 years old. It looked like it was from the Cold
and they
War.
Were always broken when they came in. They were refurbished. Like they fucking sucked.
That DLR program. understand its purpose, but a lot of the shit that came back was janky.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Now, a little bit about like you. So me and you kind of hit it off on the ship, I'd say. Like I think musically we kind of hit it off.
Yeah, we both liked independent music. I think we both liked Gaslight. So
Gaslight,
yeah,
that was it. You
yeah,
were listening to it one day when I came down to Supply and I was like, "Oh fuck, you like Gaslight?"
yeah,
And it's funny because, and you joke about this a lot on Facebook and I always get a kick
yeah.
out of it. Like the taste of music that people have in the military is the worst.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, there's a couple people that had really good taste. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember SCG Offered.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah, he
offered.
has really good taste in music. He
Yep.
likes Americana, country, and like Gaslight and all those guys. And
Yeah, because luckily, like me and Castro knew each other. We liked the same type of music. Like I met you, you liked it. Offered, I remember. There were a lot of people on my second shift that were into good stuff, but there were people where I called it stepdad rock,
yeah,
which is like, I don't even know. I mean, how do you describe it? Like Nickelback and Creed and shit like
yeah.
that. But there's like dudes that fucking love it. I don't understand.
yeah, that like Shinedown, Nickelback,
Ugh.
and they all sound the same. It's like they're imitating like that grunge era music.
Yeah.
It's just awful. It's just awful.
It's awful. Listen, if you're a veteran or active duty, you need to cut that shit out.
Yeah,
It's fucking bad.
It's corny.
It's like like there was a funny video. It was like this dude's like, "Hey, tell me you're a Papa Roach fan," and then some kid was like, "Yeah, I like to eat cigarettes." It's like that's what I think of, just like dirty motherfuckers.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody listening if you're into that shit, but it's just not good.
Yeah, my girlfriend likes to play Hinder on random she just does it as a joke. It is so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
She'll pick
Okay.
like a random bar and like what is it, Touch Tunes, and she'll play
Yeah.
Lips of an Angel at a random bar, and she gets a kick out of
Oh,
it. Yeah,
no.
she's like I bet they're loving this shit.
Ugh, it's fucking bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to hate when people, like, when you'd sneak music and somebody'd be like, "Oh, I'll handle it this time," and then they put something on that drove me fucking nuts.
Yeah, and you're like, this is Garbo. This is not.
I was like, I would rather listen to fucking nothing.
Yeah. the Captain Shinneman way.
Oh, dude, fuck him.
Yeah.
So, looking back on your time at the Navy, so think about for a second, what do you think is some of your favorite, like, give me like your top favorite, top worst, like, experiences or feelings from your time in the Navy?
I don't know. I really like to travel and and get all that different food and
Yeah.
I made a lot of good friends that I still talk to today. A lot of guys
sure.
in supply, King, Chi, all those. But some of the worst things were just the quality of life. It was horrible. Like the shipyards. I can't stress how bad.
Ugh.
Anybody. I want to know who told me the shipyards was going to be easy.
Dude, Jacob in our work center, he was like, "Oh man, you're gonna love the shipyards."
Man.
I was like, "Dude, what the fuck? What the fuck were you like? How was this better? It was way worse."
Yeah.
And you hot racked on the barge,
Oh yeah.
which was fucking disgusting.
I would always try to get in the most inconvenient rack where no one would want to be. So the likelihood of them getting up there was 0 to none.
Yeah. And for people that don't know, hot racking is when somebody else sleeps in the same rack that you're gonna sleep in, like the day before. So instead of having your own place to sleep, you're essentially like sharing a bed on and off with somebody else.
Yeah. And
It's fucking gross.
yeah, all berthings are gross, and just
And we had to carry the mattresses over from the ship to the barge.
And some
Do you remember?
of them had like piss stains and
Fucking gross. We did that working party. It was like till 10 o'clock at night, I remember.
Yeah,
We were just carrying mattresses over our heads, which is fucking disgusting.
yeah. Oh. And everybody just had to. You had to do it because
You had to.
You wanted to go home.
Yeah. It's like, fuck it. I know I have piss and shit on my head right now, but like I just want to go back to my house. Ugh, it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
So, what do you think will be your biggest takeaways from your time in the Navy? Like, what's something that you're gonna keep with you?
Work ethic. I think
Yeah.
because we were so scared to go to captain's mass. I think it like somehow created a work ethic in me that I'm always real scared of getting in trouble and getting half
Dude,
my
I'm the
money taken.
same. Even like in school, like when they give an assignment, I was so scared.
Yeah,
I'm like, why am I still fucking
yeah,
scared? It's not like I can get like sent up
yeah.
to captain's mast
And I'm
anymore.
all in school. Like
Yeah.
A's or I'm a failure. Like I have to get perfect grades or it's just
Yo, I was the same way. And I think that's why a lot of vets end up like really successful because we kind of get that like beat into us essentially.
yeah. Especially if you
So,
come from a destroyer, cruiser or something.
yes. Yeah, dude, small boy life is just, it's a lot different
Yeah.
for sure. All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on the show. It was good catching up with you. Thanks for taking the time out to do it. Like I miss like my biggest thing that I miss from the Navy is just like chilling on the ship, hanging out with everybody, like bullshitting
Yeah, about nonsense. Just
about nothing. Like that was always the best. It's like even like during a sea and anchor or Raz, like even though it sucked, like being on a line, just like bullshitting about nothing at
yeah,
all,
but
or getting these ridiculous what if questions like thrown at you, or
I was so big into that on watch.
yeah, I
Yeah.
remember I stood watch with somebody that was really quiet, and they just looked at me
Oh,
one time, and he was like, hey, I was like, yeah, what's up? He's like, would you rather fuck your grandmother or your grandfather? It's like, what?
what was his rate?
I want to say he was like a IT or something. I might be
Did he have a
wrong.
mustache?
I think
Oh
so.
man, he asked me about the flying spaghetti monster, and
Flying spaghetti monster.
yeah, man, you don't know what that is?
No, I don't think
It's
so.
pastafarian. It's you have to look it up. I ain't gonna
I'll
say
I'll, I'll check it out.
it ain't worth talking about on here. It really is not. But I found that out on watch because just
Yeah, you meet some weird
yeah, just some
fuckers.
weird conversations you have with folks.
I mean, yeah, when you're standing like with nothing to do from 2 to 7, I mean, shit comes up.
Yeah, and you have to, or I'd be falling asleep on my feet. So them stupid
Dude,
conversations.
you debate the world on watch.
Yeah, if this
It's
shit was
like
real,
everything in the world, you'd be like, why the fuck did I just talk 5 hours about like why the sky is blue? But like you'll fucking do it. There's nothing else to do.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Oh fuck. All right, dude. So thanks for coming on again. It was good catching up with you, and I'll talk to everybody else next week.
All right, thanks.